By the sides of the road there were bamboo-walled shacks and palm-thatched shanties, pats of dung and piles of refuse. But the straight course of the road's journey was unsmudged by the clutter that flanked it. It was like a causeway cutting across a choppy sea. Its lines led the eye right through the city, past the bright red walls of the fort, to the distant pagodas of Mandalay Hill, shining like a string of white bells upon the slope. For his age, Rajkumar was well-travelled. The boat he worked on was a coastal craft that generally kept to open waters, plying the long length of shore that joined Burma to Bengal. Rajkumar had been to Chittagong and Bassein, and any number of towns and villages in between. But in all his travels he had never come across thoroughfares like those in Mandalay. He was accustomed to lanes and alleys that curled endlessly around themselves so that you could never see beyond the next curve. Here was something new, a road that followed a straight, unvarying course, bringing the horizon right into the middle of habitation. When the fort's full immensity revealed itself, Rajkumar came to a halt in the middle of the road. The citadel was a miracle to behold, with its mile-long walls and its immense moat. The crenellated ramparts were almost 3 stories high, but of a soaring lightness, red in colour and topped by ornamented gateways with 7-tiered roofs. Long straight roads radiated outwards from the walls, forming a neat geometrical grid. So intriguing was the ordered pattern of these streets that Rajkumar wandered far afield, exploring. It was almost dark by the time he remembered why he'd been sent to the city. He made his way back to the fort's western wall and asked for Ma Cho. Ma Cho? She has a stall where she sells food, bayagya and other things. She's half Indian. Ah, Ma Cho. It made sense that this ragged-looking Indian boy was looking for Ma Cho. She often had Indian strays working at her stall. There she is, the thin one. Ma Cho was small and harried-looking, with spirals of wiry hair hanging over her forehead, like a fringed awning. She was in her mid-30s, more Burmese than Indian in appearance. She was busy frying vegetables, squinting at the smoking oil from the shelter of an upthrust arm. She glared at Rajkumar suspiciously. "What do you want?" He had just begun to explain about the boat and the repairs and wanting a job for a few weeks when she interrupted him. She began to shout at the top of her voice, with her eyes closed. "What do you think? I have jobs under my armpits to pluck out and hand to you. Last week a boy ran away with 2 of my pots. Who's to tell me you won't do the same?" And so on. Rajkumar understood that this outburst was not aimed directly at him, that it had more to do with the dust, the splattering oil, and the price of vegetables than with his own presence or with anything he had said. He lowered his eyes and stood there stoically, kicking the dust until she was done. She paused, panting, and looked him over. "Who are your parents?" she said at last, wiping her streaming forehead on the sleeve of her sweat-stained angi. "I don't have any. They died." She thought this over, biting her lip. "All right. Get to work, but remember, you're not going to get much more than 3 meals and a place to sleep." He grinned. "That's all I need." Ma Cho's stall consisted of a couple of benches sheltered beneath the stilts of a bamboo-walled hut. She did her cooking sitting by an open fire perched on a small stool. Apart from fried bayagya, she also served noodles and soup. It was Rajkumar's job to carry bowls of soup and noodles to the customers. In his spare moments, he cleared away the utensils, tended the fire, and shredded vegetables for the soup pot. Ma Cho didn't trust him with fish or meat, and chopped them herself with a grinning, short-handled da. In the evenings he did the washing up, carrying bucketfuls of utensils over to the fort's moat. Between Ma Cho's stall and the moat there lay a wide, dusty roadway that ran all the way around the fort, forming an immense square. Rajkumar had only to cross this apron of open space to get to the moat. Directly across from Ma Cho's stall lay a bridge that led to one of the fort's smaller entrances, the funeral gate. He had cleared a pool under the bridge by pushing away the lotus pads that covered the surface of the water. This had become his spot. It was there that he usually did his washing and bathing, under the bridge, with the wooden planks above serving as his ceiling and shelter. On the far side of the bridge lay the walls of the fort. All that could be seen of its interior was a 9-roofed spire that ended in a glittering, gilded umbrella. This was the great golden teak.